All right, what's up, Buff fans? Here at Folsom Field, live post-game recap for you. Colorado takes down the Utah Utes 49-24. Shadur Sanders for the Buffs, 30 for 41, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. His counterpart for the Utes, Isaac Wilson, little brother of Denver Broncos legend Zach Wilson, 21 of 40, 3 picks, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this was a solid game for the Buffs. They got up 28-9 in that third quarter, and we were kind of wondering, is this team going to be able to close it out? Because they struggled to close it out last week against Texas Tech. And I wouldn't say I was super convinced by it until the fourth quarter when they got the turnover. They brought that pressure late, but they let up those 2 long touchdown drives. The defense did, but still, a 49-24 victory over an opponent you have beat since 2016. That's nothing. That's always something you can be proud of, something to take home, something to be proud about. So, battle. CU wins it 4-3. That's always a key point of the game. And then penalties. We talked about that pregame. Colorado only committed 5 penalties for 49 yards. Utah had 3 penalties for 25 yards. And then also Colorado was the first team to score 49 points against Utah since 2014, which is I saw that. I thought that was an insane stat. But that shows how good this Utah defense is. And Colorado struggled at times to move the ball in this Utah defense. So, um, yeah, big performances all around. Traylon Miller, LaJohntay Wester, Travis Hunter had a good game as well for the Buffs. That's just offensively. But, yeah, what was your guys' biggest takeaway from the game, you'd say?
Well, I said before the game that right now college football is really a three-quarter sport,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you saw a three-quarter team today in just the way that Colorado played. Maybe they didn't. There wasn't like a single quarter you could say, like, oh, they weren't. Maybe the first, but it just felt like there was a good 15 minutes in intervals, like maybe 3 minutes in the first, 3 minutes in so on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they didn't play the full 60 today, but they still have time to figure all that out if they're going far. If that's a
If.
big if.
If.
If they do, they still have 2 games coming up that they can figure it out. Um, but yeah, I think they played a good 45 minutes today. But there was just a couple lapses here and there that even Coach Prime talked about it in the post game that there's still work to do, and
Yes.
they're a really good team right now. But that's different from being a playoff team. And
Exactly.
that's even more different from being a contending team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that they're not there yet, or that they can't. Right, with what they have right now, they can absolutely be that, but they're not there yet, in my opinion.
I agree. And I was thinking, like, because a lot of people brought up, oh, like the playoff and whatnot. Like,
Yep.
if this team gets a four, say they win the Big 12 and they get a 4 seed, and then they play the loser of the Big 10 championship, which is going to be Oregon, Ohio State, in that playoff game, the team that took the field today would lose that game by 30 points.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, obviously, doing well in the Big 12, but if you want to compete with the big boys, you got to play better. So, Max, what was your biggest takeaway from the game today?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway today, obviously, Colorado's a team that gets it done offensively day in, day out. They have these big playmakers, Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn when he's playing, LaJohntay Wester, been a big name ever since that Baylor game,
Mm-hmm.
being number 1 next year. And to be honest, 49 points doesn't impress me. What impresses me is the ability to stop Utah on defense. Obviously, you have a inexperienced quarterback coming in Wilson, and their running game not being able to get going because CU dominated those trenches.
This is a big thing. Mekhi Bernard is a beast of a running back.
Yep.
Number 2 for Utah, who played most of the game. He had, what did he have? What did he finish with today? 11 carries for 20 yards.
Yep, on 3 losses, 3 negative plays there. That's a take on Colorado's defensive side of the ball. Now, football's a 3-sided sport. Offense, defense, special teams, outstanding today. That big punt return from Wester, couple touchbacks.
Yeah.
I think Colorado won this game with their defense and with their special teams rather than their offense.
Yeah, we'll get into the special teams a little later, but want to start with our 3 stars of the game. Kind of taking a bite out of the NHL here.
championship expectations. What has it meant to you to come here and like really build and create that within this building?
I would say just knowing what it looks like. You know what I mean? If we're in practice or we're in meetings and I see something, then I'm kind of like, that's not championship standard. I can tell a younger guy who doesn't know what it looks like. I know what getting to a natty looks like. This is what you got to do. This is the work you got to put in. These are the sacrifices you have to make. So just really knowing what it looks like and having that experience, I think it helps everyone because people even come to me and they ask me questions like, how was it making it that far, playing in late December, January, and I want to be back there.
Yeah, and I'll just say, just playing for one another. That's what it starts with. Don't let nobody get complacent and be hold everybody accountable. That's the main thing I see on championship teams, and like we got that, and we just trying to bring everybody along, and just keep going, keep pushing each other.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's what Nakai Hill Green was saying post game. Like I said, phenomenal performance from him, and also Levante Bentley, his partner in crime, had 5 tackles as well. So just a great game from both of those guys. And then our last star, Nick, this was kind of your guy that you were watching, DJ McKinney.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats, I don't think he really shined in the stats category. He of course had that interception on that overthrown ball by Isaac Wilson. But just watching him, I've been watching the DBs all game, the edge rushers too, which was pretty impressive. But specifically looking at the D-backs, because I didn't think the safeties would get challenged too much today, which they really didn't. So it was really on the corners to do their job. And I think DJ McKinney really stepped up. He got toasted, I want to say really early on, and then he got boxed out on that Utah touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then on that 2-point conversion, he messed up with the screen. He just read the wrong player. And so I think him overcoming that and still managing to be a pretty good player, holding that down that cornerback room, apart from Travis when he did his job. But yeah, I thought he did a good job stopping the ball from being thrown his way. Meanwhile, Travis did the job on the opposite side of the field, stopping it there. And then after Shedeur throws that interception to start the game, Isaac Wilson had a wide open, I don't remember who it was, the wideout that came on the
it was Zacharias Williams up the seam.
He came on a motion, comes back around, and he has a wide open primary look. But DJ McKinney sees it and improvises, plays him, and takes away that touchdown. That could have been 7-0 Utah to start the game. And so DJ McKinney, I think intangibly today, was one of the better players that we saw.
Yeah, and so McKinney was kind of your guy, Nick. Kind of circle back. Seems like Draylon Miller was your guy, Max. What impressed you about Miller's performance today?
Yeah, he's a freshman. You have a freshman coming out, putting up 108 yards, catching all 6 of his targets. What really impresses me the most, though, is 63 yards after the catch. That's, like you said, get in the weight room. Like, if you're lowering your head, dropping your shoulders, getting into those, like, nittier, grittier tackles, getting through them like he did today, breaking, 4 or 5 tackles on his touchdown run there, just pulling people along with him.
Yeah.
As a freshman, that's impressive. That guy's going to be somewhere in a couple years. And, like, Prime mentioned in the press conference talking about him as well.
Yeah, and we'll pull up what Prime said for you guys here. But yeah, definitely high praise for the true freshman.
He's like a Deebo Samuels, man. He gives you a variety pack every time you put him out there. He could play the slot. He could play out wide. He could get in the backfield. He could go wildcat. I mean, the kid is talented, and he's a freshman. And I thought we didn't recruit those. But this kid is a great young man. I mean, he was raised properly. Has the right influences in his life, and the older players have taken him up under their wings, and they make sure that he gets it right. He knows his assignments, his alignments, and the kid practices his butt off every day. So I'm so proud of him. He had, I think, went for 100 yards today. 106. Yeah, awesome, man. I'm proud of him.
And so you saw there, Prime, a lot of praise, but one of the things he said, he's like Deebo Samuel because he can do anything. And you look at what Deebo does right now for the 49ers, and I'm interested to see what this kid can do, as a freshman. in the future years. I wanted to call him LaVisca Chenault, a very physical guy
Big body.
that can also get downfield quicker than you think. And so you look at LaVisca Chenault right now, he's playing on Sundays. And so maybe Draylon Miller, he can go day 3, maybe even day 2 or 1, and be a physical and yet fast kind of guy. And that was a lot of praise for him. And I had a lot of praise for him, too. I think he's going to be a bright spot, definitely, when we have to deal with the exodus of all our best players leaving next year.
Yeah, definitely. Talk about Carolina Panthers legend LaVisca Chenault.
Absolutely.
I like the Cordero Patterson there too.
Yeah.
The utility knife player, get it done on.
Utility knife's a great way to describe him. So let's go focus on the defense now. We saw the clips from Nakai Hill-Green, Levante Bentley. 2 other guys that deserve praise. Cam Silman-Craig led the team in tackles with 7 today. That guy, I mean, he just is always on the ball. He's always in the right spot. He's making plays. And then B.J. Green coming off the edge. He had half a sack and 5 tackles today. He played phenomenal as well. And this defense, like, you could see it. Like, they started the game on their heels after the Shaduri interception. They were on their own 20, held for a field goal, held Utah for another field goal when Shadur had the fumble that gave him the ball again in the red zone. Yeah, it's funny. Shador said, I got to buy him dinner this week.
Yeah.
That was – I wonder – where do you think Shador would take the defense to dinner if he's going to buy him dinner this week?
Somewhere in North Boulder.
North Boulder?
Where all
Yeah,
the
nothing
really
here.
good places are. Like, there's nowhere on the hill I would go, but, like, there's some good recommendations.
You don't think he's going to take him to, like, Waffle Lab or something?
In
The
some
lab,
way.
the lab bar and bites.
I can appreciate that, but I mean,
Yeah. All right. Get back on track. And something else too is Colorado didn't bring pressure a lot today, and then in the fourth quarter, when it seemed like there was like a little tension in the air, and it's like, hey, like Utah's only down 11 right now. Robert Livingston just brings the house 2 plays in a row, and Shiloh, who I thought played really well today, just flattened Isaac Wilson. I kind of felt bad for him. He like totally flipped him. And forced the fumble, and that kind of sealed the game. But I thought that just the defensive play calling, obviously, they weren't able to control the seams to Carson Ryan, the big tight end, number 85. That was an issue they had all day. But other than that, like the other issues that arose, I thought that Livingston adjusted. Livingston did a good job switching up his play calls, and then he had playmakers all over the field that really helped out. I thought it was just a great performance overall in this defensive battle.
Yeah, speaking on that defensive side of the ball, what they did with the safeties on 1st and 2nd down is really good to see. It's lovely to see Shiloh playing the over top guy, and then Cam Silman-Craig getting in the box to stop that run. Obviously, it worked today. Utah didn't have a great run game, and when you take away that run game, we've been covering Colorado for a while. You know what happens when you can't run the ball. It's a one-dimensional. It's terrible.
Not pretty.
Yeah, and then you have Colorado mostly running zone on their 3rd downs, and then you get late in the 4th quarter and they're bringing blitzes. Utah's not ready for that.
No.
You can't adjust that late.
Especially an inexperienced quarterback who's already rattled in Isaac Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And then they bring on their 2nd string, who's probably was the 5th string.
Luke Batari. Hold on, because it's Cam Rising, then it's Isaac Wilson, then it's Brandon Rose, and then so I think Batari's the 4th string.
Yeah,
I
4th
think he's the 4th
I
string.
mean, he was 1 for 1. He had a 100% completion rate today. No.
yeah. Someone joked on Twitter that he was Heisman padding. Because, in case they give Batari the Heisman, he was Heisman padding because it was garbage time.
Yeah. But yeah, great performance from that defense. And one more player I thought played great was Colton Hood. He's not going to get credit for that Travis interception, but he's the only reason why Travis picked that ball off, because he got beat. He was a little out of phase, but then he recovered, punches the ball out in the air, lets his teammate get the tip. And then he had a play down here on the near side around the 30-yard line where he jumped a slant route, and he was so close to picking it off. But I thought that he's really been improving today. He also had a 38-yard kick return. Like, he had a solid
65
yards,
yeah. Returns.
Yeah, he had a very solid day. Colton Hood did as well. So, yeah, great defensive performance. And the Buffs needed it because they got off to such a slow start from Shador Sanders, obviously with the interception on the first play of the game. And he was honest about it. He addressed that too in the press conference.
It just take me playing better, me taking over a little bit more. That type of stuff is unfortunate. I had personally 2 turnovers myself. fumble and then interception. So I know I'm going to have to pay for those when it comes tomorrow, running-wise. So those type of things can happen. And I'm going to have a talk with, the whole offense, apologize for my performance out there at the very beginning because I can't put the team in that type of situation. I'm thankful for the defense. I may have to take them out to dinner this week, for saving me and saving the team. But when you have a good team overall, it's complementary football, and you put all phases together, offense, defense, special teams, we can't be stopped. But it was just one phase that wasn't working early on, and that was the offense, but the rest of the phases was there. So that's how you know we have a great team. But we can't afford to start off like that. We can't afford to have those type of mistakes, and mentally I got to be better and focus more.
Yeah, that's, Shador had what he had to say for his interception today and their slow start, to be honest. No one really asked that question in the press room, which I was surprised about.
Yep.
Them getting off to those slow starts. Something that Colorado as a team is used to is starting off slow. But these two players, they're arguably the two best players on this team. It's a little interesting to see Travis Hunter, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 55 yards, and then obviously that rushing touchdown, the end around. None of that really came until
the third, fourth quarters. Yeah, Utah held him in check for sure.
He didn't get his first catch until that second quarter on a Shador scramble. He throws it 50 feet in the air, and Travis Hunter goes up again. So.
Yeah, one thing that you brought up a lot today, Nick, was even though he's not putting up the big numbers, was Travis Hunter as a decoy.
Yeah.
Which is really important.
Yeah, he's got like a double me from Madden 20 where like it's hard to explain it, but I think that kind of improves his stock because I was looking, and Utah likes to play match coverage, man coverage a lot. Both teams kind of did, but even when a player, his assignment wasn't Travis. When the ball is snapped, he's looking at the quarterback, but then he glances for a second at Travis because he knows if my cornerback over there gets toasted, then I have to come back, I have to improvise, I have to do something because that's Travis Hunter.
Yep.
And I think if he can translate that to the NFL, he'll be like Calvin Johnson, where there was a lot of games he didn't get a lot of touches, but that was because he was getting double teamed the whole game. And if he goes to a team that has more than one good wide receiver, if he chooses to play wide receiver, of course, I think that'd be just good in its own because he demands attention be brought to the other side of the field. And another thing, Colorado, a lot of times they liked to run the ball counter to where Travis was because those players are looking at Travis to start. So like linebackers looking left, there's Travis, what's he doing? Then you're looking back this way, and if you're on the left side of the line, the running backs run into the right, so he's already free. And I think that just sets up the run game because the linebackers are distracted, the safeties are distracted, the cornerbacks are distracted because it's Travis Hunter. If you get him one-on-one, even if he catches that ball and he's not free immediately, he can hezzy, he can juke. He's going to get free if you don't at least put more than one player on him. He's just that kind of player. And I think his ability to just draw the eyes of the defense when that play is snapped and just give him extra treatment before the snap, that's pretty important to translate it onto Sundays.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that's important. So we'll talk more about Travis in a sec. But something I was so impressed with was the special teams. And like Max, you said it, like you got to win big football games in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. LeJontay Wester had the 76-yard punt return. Colton Hood had a 38-yard punt return. And they had 3 touchbacks on kickoffs, which is not something we've seen. They tried the pooch kick with Mata once, and I was like, oh, my goodness. But
it's a game to do it, though.
It's a game to do it, I guess. But, yeah, I just thought that was so impressive. And they finally, like LeJontay and Jimmy Horns had a couple big returns, but they haven't been able to break one. And that wasn't just all LeJontay. Like, LeJontay jukes 10 people, and like that one Arkansas play from 10 years ago where the guy ran in circles. But the blocking on that play was so well blocked. He only had to juke one guy, and then it was just like Red Sea parted for him. So I know you, Max, you've been talking a lot about special teams and whatnot. What did anything really stand out to you in that phase of the game, or?
Yeah, I think what really is impressive to me on the special team side of the ball is LeJontay Wester got home for a touchdown, obviously, but that's not the only return where he had a hole. there were other holes on the other kick returns, on the other punt returns where he could have broke one free. It just happened that play he broke a tackle, got free, and a team in the NFL that does well on all three sides of the ball is the Detroit Lions, and look where they are now, sitting, and look at where Colorado is now. Yeah, and if you can get it done on all three sides of the ball, that's what's going to end up winning you games, especially when your offense comes out slow, and especially when your defense can't defend a specific thing. For example, today was the seam.
Mm-hmm.
If you get destroyed on the seam, but you're scoring on all three sides of the football, well, like you put up 49 points.
Yeah.
Says a lot.
Put up 49 points, and Travis said on Fox post games, like, we didn't even play good. And I like we were saying, like, a good team would beat this team by 30, by 40. So, But yeah, the special teams are important. If you want to beat the Oregons, you want to beat the Ohio States, you gotta have a good special teams unit, or they will eat you alive. So, yeah, very, very important aspect of the game. But now let's go back to Travis, I guess. The Heisman. He hit the pose after that interception.
He hit it twice today.
He had the catch where he literally just floated into orbit around he I don't think you understand how ridiculous it is to track a ball while you're backpedaling and then high point it over two guys and then get spun in a full 360
hang on to it.
and then land and survive it. That was insane. And after that play, Gus Johnson, who was calling the game on Fox, he said, "Give him the Heisman now." Yeah, and then the last touchdown was a little bit of a hey, let's force and get Travis's touchdown a little bit. They tried doing Philly special, and instead he just jukes three defenders, evades another guy, hurdles the safety in the end zone. I don't want to make any Heisman predictions or whatnot, but it's just you see it day in, you see it day out that holy cow, this guy, that catch down there was one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in the stadium.
I honestly have to disagree with you there with your Travis Hunter point. You said they tried maybe forcing it to him at the end there. Shador Sanders said in the post game conference or post game presser, he's like, that was my touchdown. Yeah. So that was supposed to go to Shador, and he fell on his butt. But I think it's a take on how good Travis Hunter actually is. You get a ball. Where were they on the 5 or something? And he's 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He gets over, jumps over a defender.
Yeah.
You're seeing a guy. What is it? One. How many pounds is he?
75 or 85.
175. He's lowering his shoulder and jumping over a guy. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That says enough about him.
In that moment, I thought to myself, what kind of person does that at that weight? And it's only a person who has something that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He can say in the press conference, "I'm not looking at it." But it's you're staring down a linebacker as a wide receiver and two safeties all at once, and you're taking them head on and you're winning. Only one person does that, and that's someone that's trying to win that Heisman Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it. In order to win that trophy, you need a moment. You can't just be the best player the whole year.
He's had a couple moments.
And
More than a couple.
You're looking at other players right now: Genty, Ward, Milrow. I don't think they've had a Heisman moment yet. That one play where it's Genty, he's broken.
No, Genty's had some moments, but I don't I don't think Dylan Gabriel's had a moment.
No.
Milrow, his 4 rushing touchdowns last week was kind of a moment, and then Cam Ward being nonchalant is not a moment. He had the comeback against Cal, but that's at Cal, so I don't know. I'm not gonna get it. That Miami team is interesting to me. But yeah, well, here, let's go through it. So the North Dakota State touchdown, I guess, what was that, the third one?
Yep.
Oh, that one was
on the goal line.
That one was insane.
The forced fumble against Baylor.
The forced fumble against Baylor. The UCF interception.
In that Baylor game as well, I'd even give him credit for the Hail Mary. They stacked the right side of the field. It ends up in Wester's hands.
He drew so many players.
It's a one-on-one with Wester, and it's an underthrown ball by Shador Sanders. Wester just comes back and catches it.
Yeah.
You have 4 people guarding 3 on the other side of the field.
Yeah, and then the catch where he spins into orbit today.
Yeah.
He's just it's been crazy going from watching JT Shrout, and Brendan Lewis to now watching this high level talent and whatnot. So, but yeah, Hunter's been amazing. But now we got to look ahead. Buffs are 6-1.
Yep.
They have 2 games left in conference play. They go to Arrowhead next week against Kansas. Kansas is only a 2.5-point underdog at BYU tonight, which is a little interesting to me. I don't want to get I don't want to get into like gambling odds and everything, but that was kind of a weird point to me. But that Kansas team is talented. Obviously, not the season they want. They're a talented team, and then Oklahoma State, who disappoint. Like they have Ollie Gordon at running back, but we've seen with this run defense. You saw it last week. You see it today. They've been able to shut down really good running backs. So, I don't want to say it, but like the path is. I'm not gonna say it, but the path is there.
They have to beat Kansas. I am terrified of that Kansas team.
And that game is gonna be cold. Like it says it's gonna be 50. Says it's gonna be 50, but that wind in Kansas City is really cold. In Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And that's a loud stadium too.
I've been there. It's one of the loudest stadiums I've ever been to.
And we talk about, that's the funny thing is that Arrowhead's not even designed to be loud. Like Kyle Field, Lumen Field, they're designed to be loud.
Mm-hmm.
Arrowhead's just loud because of the fans. And we talk about like the prime effect, like Big Noon is here for us, or Big Noon was in Texas Tech because of us. They were there in UCF because of us. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then we also draw the opposite, where fans are coming here in droves to yell against us because we're the Colorado Buffaloes. And so Kansas fans know that. They're going to make that commute, that horrible commute, because it's impossible to get to Kansas Field, to Arrowhead. There's no buses or anything that go there.
I know. I look because I'm going like I'm like, oh, like like Kansas City barbecue and like cool stuff, and like the airport's here, and then downtown's here, and then like all by themselves is Arrowhead and Kauffman, the baseball stadium. I'm like they're just isolated over there. It's kind of a weird layout.
Yeah, that stadium is going to be the loudest that student section has ever produced this season because it's the Buffaloes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got a team who already upset. They brought a win last week, right? Against, was it Iowa State?
They blew them out. They were up like 31-17 at one point, I think.
They've still got Jalen Daniels. They've got. I think they had 2 Heisman watch list people at the start of the year.
Preseason, yeah, they had a bunch of people. They were also ranked top 25 then too.
Yeah, but you lose your offensive coordinator and you see what happens pretty fast. So.
And so, if we can beat Kansas, then there's no doubt they're going to steamroll Oklahoma State. But you need to beat Kansas. And so we talked about today, it's easier to play spoiler than it is to just hold on to a lead. And I think that's what, Kansas is going to look to do is play spoiler, get rid of Colorado's hype, just like Oregon did.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon backed it up. Kansas is going to be talking a lot of smack.
Playing for clicks.
They're going to be talking a lot of smack because they know they already upset Iowa State, and this is their chance to upset Colorado, and they're going to be on their turf in a louder stadium, and they just I'm not even a Kansas fan, but I want Kansas fans to show out, like live up to that hype, be very loud, like they should do, and take away Colorado's dreams.
Interesting, right now in the Big 12, Baylor's up on West Virginia. West Virginia is one of those 2-loss teams, so if Baylor's currently up 35-21 at is that at halftime? It's pretty much at halftime.
Yeah, almost.
Baylor scored 60 against Cincinnati, and now they're scoring 35 at half against West Virginia. Interesting. But that would be big for West Virginia to drop to 3 losses in conference play. So, and then obviously we went through the other games earlier. Big night in the Big 12. Big 12 after dark. Another week of BYU ball at late at night. That game, I'm excited for that game.
9 p.m. in Ames. I feel bad for those reporters.
Yeah, that is going to be rough.
Yeah.
But we're still, spread 2.5 to negative 2.5 to BYU. To be honest, you guys are worried about Kansas. I'm worried about Oak State. Like, seeing what that Texas Tech, Taj Brooks, what he did to us last week, 100 and something yards. He had a bunch of chunk plays in that fourth quarter. Like, he just got to stay disciplined in the run game, because if CU plays like they did against Micah Bernard.
Yeah.
Then it'll be.
Or Mackay, sorry.
Still, like, you have a guy come out and you get up, you turn into a running script.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You get up early. Like, Colorado doesn't like starting fast. They don't like starting well. And if you get up, 14-0, and you're just running the ball with one of the top running backs in the nation, I'm worried about that game.
Yeah, that could get out of hand. And that game's also going to be interesting because it's – the crowd here I'm intrigued to see because it's the morning after Thanksgiving. and there's not going to be a whole lot of students here. I'll tell you, we'll be here.
I'll be here.
Home sweet home up here in the CU press box, but that's going to be interesting to see. Like that, I don't think that crowd's going to be fully into it, and might be a little bit of a sleeper game. Like especially if they win, and it's like, oh, we have to play the last team in the conference, and we're in the championship. Like that's such a trap game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried about that one.
So yeah, that one
And
will be interesting for sure.
They're hungry for their first conference win too. I mean,
Oh,
they might
yeah,
get it this
they-
week. They might get it next week. But if they don't,
They even play this week?
They still no, they have their late season bye this week, but
so if they win, if they can't win next
I
week,
thought they won one game. Have they
the
seriously?
conference game they're winless.
I know,
They're
but like I
0-7.
thought that they
maybe
won.
their FCS game they won.
No, they're 0-7 in
They're
Big
0-7,
12, yeah.
Texas Tech next.
Because they were I was watching tape the other day and it was number 12 Utah versus number 14 Oklahoma State in week 4 and I was like, what happened? It's like and I remember watching that game and I was like, oh, like Big 12 heavyweight shootout and now they're just like Utah's 1-6 and Oklahoma State's 0-7 in the Big 12. Like that is ridiculous.
It reminds me when the Broncos were playing the Saints.
On Thursday night?
And that was during this was like week 2, so when the hype of the Saints was here, and I was like, we have to play the Saints, and well, now we knew, but like in the start of the season, we looked at the schedule. We have to play Utah and Oklahoma State. We are gonna get destroyed.
And Kansas.
And
in the
Kansas.
final 3 weeks, those were all top 25 teams.
Yeah, there were. And now the script is completely flipped. And now, if you told me in the offseason we're gonna be terrified to be playing, maybe not terrified, but that our biggest contest of the year might be against BYU in the championship. It's like, hold on, what happened to Arizona, Utah, Oklahoma State? Where did they, like maybe
14, 15, 16.
maybe one team being disappointing. Maybe that was happening, but 3 of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's definitely crazy. So,
Should we bring up another point? Where does Colorado fall, or where did they move up to in the AP poll now?
that's
17.
That's tough. What is the top 25 doing in the college football poll right
Well, now we go by the CFP.
Yeah. What is the top 25 doing?
So we're 17.
Penn State's up big. Notre Dame's up big.
SMU is currently losing to Boston College by 1 in the third quarter. That could be a big one.
It's a big rival game.
Louisville, Stanford is close. LSU's tight, but they're below. So the only team right now that's above Colorado that's in jeopardy is SMU. Other ranked games, obviously
Kansas
that
State,
Arizona State,
Oklahoma
Kansas
State.
State game.
Yep.
Someone's got to lose this.
Yeah, but CU's not. If they put CU ahead of Georgia, if Georgia loses,
They lose big.
I don't think.
Well, wouldn't
that
they be a
they're gonna
3-loss team?
They would be,
They
but
might deserve to be under CU then.
that's a tough conversation.
Say what you want about like conference, because obviously the SEC is like 13 times better than.
I mean, Georgia's got like the 7th best strength of schedule in the country.
That doesn't matter to it matters to the CFP, but to AP voters, all they look at really is record. And so, right now, what I like, well, not what I like. I don't think it's fair, but the CFP right now, they just don't like Army. They don't like any of the G5 teams, and so
Army's 24, Tulane's 25,
And
both undefeated.
I don't think
in conference
Army.
play.
I don't think Army should be below CU, but
SMU leads the ACC above.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
and so I think CU moves up maybe 1 spot, but they might finish.
I mean,
if they win out, they'll finish the year.
I don't think they're
Surely they
finishing
can-
higher than 15th. I
They
think
might
15 is
go-
the ceiling.
They might go 12.
Because Kansas State's sitting at 16, and they're.
If they lose and SMU loses, then I can see them jumping to 15 or 14. But it's probably only going to be like 1 or 2, which is totally fine. Like I said, you just got to keep winning,
Yeah.
and you got to just guarantee your spot with a win in the Big 12 championship game, which they are only 3 wins away from. So,
And then BYU, where do they drop to if they lose tonight? They're at 6 right now.
the
I think that's
committee
a lot.
the committee hates them.
Yeah, they do.
Like if you blind resume had a Power 4 team that was undefeated, how many? And then they have a 1 ranked win, right? That SMU game early in the season. Yeah.
Yep.
Blind ranking, that team's got to be in the top 4 right now, and they're sitting at 6 because it's BYU in the Big 12.
yeah.
So Big 12 tax. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how tonight goes. A lot of ranked games that could shake some stuff up. So, that's kind of all I got for this game, for this conference outlook today. I can't really think of anything we didn't cover that's pretty relevant. So
Charlie Alfredel, I know not everyone likes
Yeah.
him, but
homegrown Dakota Ridge, just like 30, 45 minutes away, got his first touchdown. That was a pretty cool sight to see for sure. So
because he was a walk-on, right?
yeah, he walked on from Dakota Ridge. He's on the 1-on-11 team. Now he's on scholarship. He's got his touchdown. It was cool. There were a couple Colorado homegrown kids. Ben Finiseth was in there at safety. He's from Durango. And then Keith. I think it's Braden. I think it's Braden Keith. He's from Legacy High School. He got some reps as well. So it was kind of cool to see some homegrown walk-on type guys get some reps today for sure. So
Yeah, that play call was designed for him too. He said in the post-game presser that once he got in that end zone, he did not know how to celebrate. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, and Shador was like, he's like, I knew Charlie was in the game. He's like, I'm handing this off to him no matter what. So definitely cool, and this crowd exploded.
Yep.
And then last point I want to make, it's not totally football related, but one of the coolest moments I've ever seen at Folsom Field was the crowd singing "Happy Birthday to Peggy,"
Yes.
"Happy 100th Birthday to Peggy Copham." I've seen a lot of football here, and like that, yeah, that was definitely one of the, like they've had her like she was like crying on the
Yeah, she got
jumbotron.
emotional.
That was gonna make me shed a tear, man. That was definitely a cool moment from the game today. So, she turns 100 on Tuesday. That's what they
Her
said.
birthday is tomorrow, though. Her birthday party is her birthday
Oh, yeah,
party.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah, no, her birthday party is tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, show out for Peggy's 100th birthday. So,
Deanna will be there.
Good.
I
And
wanna see that.
that's
Yeah.
always nice too to be playing for something more. Like
and
Yeah,
Dion
like,
said today
Deion
too. He's like, we're getting a nicer bowl game for her.
Yeah.
We're getting a nicer bowl game.
and
So,
so if this Colorado team didn't have Peggy, maybe they're not playing as emotionally, you know. And emotion does a lot. We talk about it. Like it doesn't matter what team tangibly is better at the kickoff. It's what team wants it more.
yeah.
You got someone in the stands that's 100. God knows how much bad football she's seen in her lifetime. She's seen an Natty though.
Here.
She saw an Natty in her
One
lifetime.
one team that she's seen that had an emotional connection. It's not the same, but the '89 team was Salinesi.
Yep.
And you saw how much motivation did for that team and all their stuff pregame and the people booing them. And they go out and kick people's butts. So obviously not the same kind of emotion there,
No.
but emotion is emotion, and it fires up a football team. And you can kind of see this team's rallying around her, and they're playing for something that's bigger than football, which is really awesome to see. So
I mean, aside from Peggy though, you have Dion calling like the way Dion talks about the team. It's like family,
yeah, family.
Like
Yeah.
he called Travis Hunter his son the other day in a tweet. Like he said he loves these guys. Like
Mhm.
it's really good to see that the not only the team is playing well, but the locker room is friendly.
Yes.
It's a caring space. Like
Well, you see it too. You got like Levante Bentley and Nakai Hill Green, two older guys. I think fifth year members.
Bentley's a sixth.
And so one playing on Clemson. I believe maybe he wasn't on that team, but
The 2018 team.
2018 Clemson, Trevor Lawrence and them. Maybe he wasn't starting, but in that locker room. And then you have at Michigan, you had Bentley. And so these are two guys that are not only older guys that know the ropes, they know how to correct young guys, but they also know what it takes, what a locker room that is going to a championship looks like.
Yes.
And not every BYU, I don't think they have that. And a lot of teams that are contending for Army probably doesn't have that. And they were talking about it like we have a culture where we're supposed to do our job, even if we're at the 10, if we're defending from the goal line, wherever we are in the field, we do our job. We let the offense do theirs. And so you can just tell listening to these guys that their headspace is in the right area. And you just have such young guys, Jordan Seaton, you got Draylon Miller, young guys that are playing like veterans right now. And
Yeah.
you look at what it takes to be a championship winning team, they got a lot going for them. And so what can they do to go into that CFP? But that's getting ahead of ourselves. What can they do first to win against Kansas?
Yeah.
and
Gotta win.
against
Gotta win
Oklahoma
an
State?
Arrowhead. Gotta win an Arrowhead. So
That's going to be a big game.
maybe we can get one Colorado team to win an Arrowhead this
Yeah.
year. So
that's what happens to this offense like when Jimmy Horn comes back? Because obviously great performance today from them, but
More
without
screens.
Jimmy-
yeah, more screens. I mean, you saw they tried getting Terrell Timmons involved, and he just wasn't having it. He dropped the screen and stuff. So I don't think it's gonna ruin any chemistry because those guys are so tight with Horn. But it's only gonna help in my opinion. So.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely going to be good. But
Get ready to see more RPO screen bubble.
RPO screen bubble. But yeah, that's all we got for you today. Here at Scobo Sports. Thank you guys for tuning in to the post-game show. Trent Finnegan, Max Friedel, Nick Evans, and as always, you heard it here first.
Let's go Buffs.